And I think that it merits special attention from us at Christ the Servant. You see, the lady who goes forward and gives the 2 cents, the 2 pennies, in a way she's giving everything she has. Right? That's what the gospel is telling us. And all across, let me backtrack. My fear is that in many churches, this will be used as an opportunity, perhaps, to exploit people in a way and say, you know what? If this lady could give, all she had left, you gotta give more. And that's not what it's about at all. At all. What this is, this marks a new beginning. Because Jesus is saying, look at it. You know what? It's not about faith only. It's about faith and discipleship. That's what it's all about. The scribe that goes in and, and prays and has faith. But the woman who goes in and is very humble and puts in her 2 cents and so on, she has faith and discipleship. This is the beginning of the way, the new church that Jesus is bringing to everyone. And it's great. And it continues on that way for 300 plus years. The greatness of the way. When the poor are welcomed in droves because they're equal. And then, well, I don't want to be judgmental, but historically, sadly, it gets railroaded because a new model is introduced, but it's based on the old model, where you have an emperor, where you have senators, and where you have governors. You end up with having one leader of the church, as it's called, where you end up having the equivalent to the powerful Roman senators, where you have the equivalent to Roman governors in the provinces. That's the model that is reestablished. It's done for political reasons. And so, throughout history, the history of Christianity, the church, people rebel against that. St. Francis, that's a rebellion against it. And you can go through church. The desert fathers and mothers, why do they leave and drop out? Because that's not the way of Christ. They dropped out because they wanted to go back to that way, to the first 300 plus years. And throughout history, we have many examples of churches and people doing that. And you know what? You don't have to look around to find an example of that. You're in one. Right here today. You're an example of that. And we're not alone out there. There are hundreds of people who have looked at Jesus and said, you know what? I want to combine faith and discipleship. I want this challenge that Jesus brought to us. I'm not interested in emperors and senators and governors. You can transfer the titles in your own mind. I'm not interested in that. I'm interested in only, well, not only, that's really unfair. I'm interested in the great challenge of faith and discipleship. Now, what I'm going to do in the next few seconds that it takes Nancy to load up the, I'm going to kill some time with Nancy. So what I'm going to do, talk about waking the crowd up, huh? Amen. Amen.
Go for it, man.
Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at a video, and it's a very short one. It's a short, I apologize to Don, I couldn't use up the whole 30 minutes. And it's by, I think a really great guy, Shane Claiborne, and he's written The Irresistible Revolution. This is one of his latest books, The Red Letter Revolution. We're here, we're not mentioned, Christ the Servant in here, but read it, you'll see us. We're in here. along with a lot of other churches. And the other, of course, is Brian McLaren, not Andy's son, but a similar Brian McLaren. And he talks about church on the other side. We're in here. You know, if you have a chance to read this, we're in here too. Again, they don't mention us directly, but you'll see us in here. And this is like this lady who goes and puts the money in. It's a new approach to things. Because Jesus, you know, he looks at this, he sees all this. He calls, notice it says, he calls his disciples together. He wants them to see this. Because no doubt they might have been impressed by, well, I'm sure they were. You had to be impressed by what you saw, all of the trappings, right? It's greatly impressive. He says, that doesn't impress me. You know what impresses me? He says to them, see that lady? That's faith and discipleship. That's what impresses me. And I'm not sure how much it sunk in on them at that time. And I'm not sure how much it sinks in on us on a regular basis. And notice I say us, I don't say you. I'm in there too. And I was talking to the Murphys before our service started about our Advent conspiracy, and I said, you know, the struggle I have around Christmas time is I'm trying to undo 61 years of Christmas materialism. That's hard to undo. And, you know, Tommy's trying to undo 62 years. He's just a year older than me. So we're trying to undo all of that stuff because we want to be faithful disciples of Christ. And that is absolutely fantastic. You know, if Jesus was sitting in that chair right there today, and at the end of it we say, well, what do you think? How do we do today at the end of our service? He said, well, you know what? That opening hymn that you sang, that fit right in. The song that you repeated, that fit right in. The homily was shaky, but he did okay. The approach you have to the service, the things you do for discipleship, that's it. I think Jesus would say, and I'm not trying to be bombastic here about us, but I think he would say, and there are, again, many out there would say, that's what it's supposed to be like. Not about emperors, senators, and governors. It's about faithful disciples.